Hey team, welcome to Monday Morning Pearls. Before we get into the pearl, want to point you towards our podcast. You can find it at spanthechasm.com/podcast. Podcast series built by conversations with expert senior sales leaders, key success habits, things teams are doing well, areas where they've made mistakes that we can all learn from. The whole point of this is to help you sell better today. Now on to the pearl. Hey, welcome to Monday Morning Pearls. Ken, I am super fired up to be delivering this series on recession-proofing your sales team in the middle of all this economic, this chatter that we're hearing out there, really getting people ready for an economic tightening.
Yeah, and I think it's super important right now, right? As we start to talk about this economic tightening and the potential of a recession, we get a lot of chatter that the recession could happen as early as, 3 or 4 months, as late as 2021, but man, we're getting long in the tooth on this expansion. So today what we need to talk about is how do we get to the economic buyer? And what we mean by the economic buyer is that's the person who can actually sign the check. Randy, it's not the person who needs to go talk to somebody or a committee to give them your story. So why is getting to the economic buyer so important right now?
Well, imagine how you're going to feel, whether it's you or you're managing a sales team, and you're losing these deals that historically, your champion is representing you. You're losing these deals that you for no apparent reason, that normally you would have won with your champion representing. I mean, it's going to feel pretty empty. And this is where we got to get to the economic buyer.
Yeah, I think you have to get to the economic buyer. Why? I mean, the economic buyer, the person signing the check, as everything's tightening up, is going to start scrutinizing a lot more deals, right? Absolutely. The money's not as free-flowing. And we cannot trust, just, hey, my good buddy Randy, gonna go tell my story. We can't trust the champion to tell the story, give the use case, and do the things that we need to do to actually connect why it matters for the company. I mean, what else should we consider? Why is getting to the economic buyer so good?
Well, I think, and this one is specifically when we have a little bit of an economic tightening. Signature levels can change very, very quickly. This is the VP that used to be able to sign off for $100,000. Today, they probably can't even buy a box of pencils, right? So the signature levels are going to be moving up. Therefore, all the more important, if it's a new economic buyer who has no idea who you guys are prior to this, we have got to be in front of them messaging our impact for their business.
Right, and the reason we got to get in front of them is then we also get some benefits out of that too. We get to understand, are we actually a priority? How often have you had your salespeople go through an entire sales cycle, something sitting in the pipeline for 6 months, and then all of a sudden it wasn't important to the business? I mean, seriously, there's some of those things we could have found out earlier by getting up a level, Randy, and talking to them. We could have figured out, is this actually a priority with all the other things going on? And if so, is there a budget allocation for it? These are the things that we can find out at the economic buyer level that we can't necessarily find out at a lower champion level.
And I just want to nail what you talked about there for a second is the priority and the budget. These are not questions that we're answering inside of our own head. I mean, we are going to ask the economic buyer, we're going to ask him or her, where is this project on your priority list? Where and when is the money allocated for this? And sometimes these are hard questions to ask, but they've got to be asked. We got to run to the truth on this stuff. We cannot leave it to chance ever, right? We never want to leave that to chance, but especially now, if there's any contraction, deal scrutiny, it's amazing what gets blown up if we're not asking the big boy, big girl questions.
Yeah, and as a sales manager, sales leader, you have to lean into that with your team. Look, if your closing rates aren't being benchmarked against something else, and they're substantially lower than the industry, if you got a 15% close rate, Randy, there's something going on with the way deals are being entered into the pipeline. And so we really, really have to be cognizant of that. And as a sales leader, we have to make sure that our people are having the important conversations.
But Kenny, imagine how you are going to feel, or managing your team, how it's going to feel when you know you are meeting with the economic buyer, you're getting 20x better line of sight into your deals, you're going to be able to forecast with a sense of confidence and a sense of velocity, where other organizations at the same time frame are going to be running scared.
Oh my goodness, that would feel awesome. We'll be able to expand our market share, protect our actual revenue base because we're diversifying across a larger customer base. I mean, can you imagine how fantastic that's going to be as a sales leader? So I don't know, Randy, what do we think from here?
Hey, if these things are important to you, they're important to us. We'd love to have a conversation with you. You have access to all of our channels. We'd love to have a conversation during this time. The best time to buy hurricane insurance is before the hurricane. Don't wait.